Today's assembly comes from the senior school's physics department, and you can see behind me photographs from a trip they took to Florida to visit NASA. At the weekend, I watched live as 2 American astronauts rode up in a Tesla electric car to a Florida launch pad. They climbed out, got into the nose cone of a Falcon 9 rocket built by Elon Musk's SpaceX. They blasted off, and 19 hours later they docked with the International Space Station. This was the first time in a decade that an American spacecraft had ferried Americans into space from American soil. It was also the first time ever that a privately built rocket put humans into space. Over the past 10 years, SpaceX has launched about 100 rockets and landed many of them safely back on Earth. But the first 3 either blew up or never made it into orbit. Elon Musk said, "It's taken us 16 years of extreme effort, many iterations and thousands of small developmental changes to get where we think this is even possible. It's been crazy hard." At every launch, the excitement comes from the unknown. You have this thin, tall metal tube filled to the brim with what's really liquid explosives, and it seems to huff and puff as the countdown heads towards 0. At liftoff, the force of gravity becomes really apparent as flames blast into the Earth and it struggles to gain momentum. Will it, won't it, we all ask. Test, fail, test again. That's what the SpaceX engineers did. Failure always seems worse when we're halfway through the process. Once we succeed, we can look back on our failures with pride, knowing that they paved the way for where we've gotten to. You see, failure is an important part of progress, and an inevitable one at that. We put a lot of emphasis on dealing with failure with humility, but what if we started celebrating our failures with pride? Failing means you tried something. Knowing what not to do is just as important as knowing what you should do. That's not to say at SpaceX the engineers were jumping with joy when one of their multi-million-pound rockets blew up or failed to reach orbit. In an interview, engineering employee number 7 at SpaceX, Gwen Shotwell, talked about how her organisation managed to get billion-dollar deals from NASA despite the fact that their last 3 rockets had exploded. SpaceX had the courage to sell rockets they didn't even have for many millions of dollars to possibly the most famous aerospace company in the world. We would benefit from having the same courageous approach to our learning. Not being afraid to get things wrong. Seeing failures as opportunities to learn. Learning what not to do next time as well as what we should do next time. And having the commitment to see things through to the end, even if it's difficult. So don't be ashamed by your failures. Learn from them and celebrate them as part of the learning process.